Oh, here we go. Hello,
Just,
everyone. This is Grant Friedman with Next to the Text, and today I am with digital artist and photographer Erik Johansson. And Erik has done work with companies including Adobe, Google, Microsoft, Volvo, and National Geographic, but you probably know him from his personal work. Erik, thanks for taking the time to chat with me today, and I really appreciate you being here.
yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So I guess first, for people who aren't familiar with your work, I thought I would show everybody some of your past pieces, which are just amazing. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and we're just going to open up Lightroom and just go through a few of my faves. So let's take a look. Can you see my screen now?
Let's see. Yes, I can. Yeah.
So here we go. We've got this piece has been around for a while now. I think we've interviewed a couple times in the past, and we've definitely talked about this piece a couple
Yeah.
times. Can you tell some of our viewers who may not have seen this one before? Can you tell them a little bit more about this piece?
Yeah, this is something I did for, I think it was 5 years ago in 2009. And I wanted to do a picture with a fish and an island. I somehow wanted to make something with a Swedish landscape, but it would be something different underneath. So I made this, this picture consists of different parts from different places. So the fish was photographed on a fishing trip. The island was from one other place in Gothenburg. The house was from a different place, and the shores from a different place. And the underwater part was photographed in the stone pit. So it's a quite good example of the kind of work I do. It's a lot of collecting material from different places and then putting it together in Photoshop.
Yeah, I know that you did a layer breakdown in your presentation at Adobe Max not this time, but the last time before that. Did you do it behind the scenes with this one at all?
I didn't, no. Behind the scenes videos is something that I started doing a couple of years ago just to show people the amount of work that it actually is behind a lot of these pieces. But back then I didn't really think about it. But now I try to do at least 2 behind the scenes videos each year.
Yeah, I think those are really cool. I think they really add a lot to. I know you put in a lot of work into your pieces, and I think showing exactly how much work actually goes into those pieces, I think really helps people understand. Like, wow, this guy didn't just like throw this together. Like, this took a lot of planning, a lot of effort.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoy watching other people's behind the scenes videos. So I thought that maybe people could be interested in the way I work as well.
So this next one here, let's take a look. The next piece this is one I think you actually did a behind the scenes video on, right?
I did. Yeah, they are all a little bit different, all the behind the scenes videos, and this was actually basically just a 7-minute time lapse of all the work I did in Photoshop with this piece. But about I think 80 times the normal speed. So it's pretty intense to watch, I think. But I wanted to show the actual process of actually creating this picture and the amount of hours I put into this work.
Yeah, and if I remember that this piece was like the fold was actually a piece of paper that you had photographed, right?
Yeah, to me, I mean, creating these images, it's basically about problem solving. I mean, I always start with a very simple sketch, and then I need to find a way how to actually get there, and that's usually by photographing different places, different things, using different materials to try to help me how it would actually behave. I mean, something like this would be pretty hard to actually find.
Yeah.
So that's why, for this piece, I used a piece of paper that I cut, and I just folded it this way, and I photographed it, and then I could photograph the landscapes that I needed, and basically put it on top of the paper model that I made.
Yeah, I remember you. I think during your Adobe Max presentation, I think one of the things that really stuck with me about that was like was you had kind of casually mentioned not to rely on stock photography, to go out and shoot it yourself. And I think that's like really important if you're looking to create, because I know a lot of people look at your work and they say, wow, I want to create something like that, and so they try to create something like that. But I think one of the issues with it is that if you're not going out and shooting your own photography, I think you're going to have trouble creating work, in the same quality as you do.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I discovered quite early. That I mean, stock photography can be great sometimes if you can't really travel to a certain place and you need that kind of pictures. But the problem is, I mean, if you want to put together pictures to make it look realistic, then they all need to have the same perspective and the same light. And usually that's not something that you find in stock photography. So that's why I started to photograph. So I started learning Photoshop at first, and then I learned that I have to photograph to just collect the material I need to create these pictures.
Yeah, I think that when you go into a project and you have like a solid plan, and I think most of your projects usually start out as a sketch, and then you go out and you create the assets, and then then you start working on it in Photoshop. And if you start off and you have a plan like that, I think that it's you save so much time, as opposed to if you kind of had a general idea and then you went searching through stock sites and looking for stock photography, and then you started to because I think one of the problems that you have when you work with stock is that to make it look realistic, you have to put so much time into changing the light, changing the perspective, fixing shadows and things like that. And whereas when you go out and you shoot your own photography, you don't necessarily have to do all that.
Yeah, it's also for me that it's a way for me to get away from the computer as well. I mean, I spend a lot of time in front of the computer with all the photoshopping, with all the composing and everything. But I mean, some things maybe they could be made in post as well. But I mean, it's more fun to actually build something or make something with your hands as well. And I think that's also like part of the process to actually see how something behaves. And if you actually make it for real, it will look realistic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will have to guess what it would look like if you actually would make it.
And this next piece that I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again. This next piece was like one of my favorites. I always loved this one that you had done. Let's see.
Yeah. This is a pretty good example of just that, I think. I mean, with making something for real.
Yeah. And you did a behind the scenes video of this one too, right?
I actually didn't do video, but there is a little bit of. I made a blog post about it because I didn't think about it at the time to actually record material for it. But I did shoot some behind the scenes material of it, so there are some stills showing how I made it. Yeah. Yeah,
I remember, and I remember reading that blog post. It was really cool because you talked about. Because weren't you were holding like an aquarium or something, right? Like that, right? And that's how you were getting that effect of pouring the water out.
Yeah.
And then you actually.
Yeah, it was very important to me to actually make this effect look realistic, that the water would come out of the painting. And the best way to do that is to actually pour water out of the painting. So I just got this very cheap frame from a second-hand store, and I built a small container behind the frame out of cardboard and duct tape and some plastic bags and stuff. Super simple, and it took me maybe 30 minutes to build or something. And I could fill it up with water, and I could pour water out of it. So
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I think that's what's cool. And how did you take that? Did you have an assistant taking that photo while you were holding that, or did you have like some remote trigger that you were using?
Actually, no, it's a remote trigger. Actually, that's not me in the picture. I'm taking the picture, but yeah. So, but I used the remote trigger for the flash inside where you see the sun in the picture. That's actually flashed in there also as well, taped to the top of the inside of the container.
And those ships, are those real ships or is those toy ships?
They are. it's actually mixed. The ship in the foreground, that's a real ship. The ship coming out of the painting is also a real ship, and the third ship too. Then the bigger ship in the back, that's actually a toy ship, but it's slightly out of focus, so you don't really see it. Even on the big print, you don't really see that it's a fake ship. And also, I kind of like that the mixture of fake and real ships, and you don't really know which one is which. And yeah.
Yeah, this was just a really solid piece. So I really loved looking at that one. Let's just take a look at the next one. What do we have here? We've got this is one I've never seen this one before, and I look at your portfolio a lot. I've never seen this one.
It's a pretty straightforward picture. It's not that much retouching in this one. I just found this really cool location with like ice breaking up in wintertime. I think it was February or something last year, and it was basically just I shot I took a lot of photographs at the place, at the location, and then I basically just looked through everything, and I thought like, yeah, this could actually even be a picture, even like this. So I just put some houses and stuff in there that I thought could be interesting, and even these small animals there. So there's like separation between two people. The house is breaking up, and also like there's this little animal there, and then there's another one to the left there.
Now, were these animals in the original shot, or were they?
They were not in the original shot, but I shot them on the way back from this place. Actually, I saw them out on the field, so it was actually shot at the same, like within just a couple of hours.
I love doing that when
the scale of the place is actually a lot smaller than it looks here. I mean, here it looks like these giant blocks of ice, but in reality, the blocks are a lot smaller. I mean, if a person would be standing on a cliff where the house would be, the person would be about 3 times higher than the house. So,
so this is kind of like a close-up shot. This isn't. So the scale of this is not quite what we.
Right. It's like kind of close-up, yeah.
That ice is so cool.
Yeah, I think it's a quite efficient way of doing it. I mean, if some places, when you shoot some places, it just looks like if you remove some objects, it's really hard to say. I mean, the kind of scale you have in the picture, what the perspective is, and you can play around with it by putting like smaller things in there to make it look bigger.
So is this ice that builds up on the rocks?
Yeah. It was like really windy, so the ice was being pushed up on the shore, and yeah, that's when I photographed, and I just liked the kind of shape that you got here. And to me, that was very interesting.
So cool, yeah, definitely. So let's take a look. What else do we have here? We've got this one. This one was amazing. I mean, this one I thought. I remember when I saw it for the first time and I watched the video for it. It's just like it's just so well executed, and not only that, I thought it just had so many different meanings that that it just like it really it's kind of spoke to me a little bit.
Yeah, I was. I didn't think that it would turn out exactly like this, but it turned out really well. I was very lucky with the weather and with the different parts, I think. And I had the very basic idea of what I wanted to create in the beginning, like just a bottle and like some kind of village or someone living inside the bottle. But as I started to shoot the different material, it started to come together for me in my mind how I actually wanted to execute it, and it became quite a lot darker than I thought it would be from the beginning. But it was quite, I liked the result.
I really love like the textures and the. One of my favorite parts is like that the sort of that glass, the sort of scratched glass look, like you're looking out of a porthole of a ship. Look.
It was a little bit too clean before, so I just wanted to make it a little bit more dirty. Somehow get the feeling of I mean, the place where the people actually live, and maybe get that kind of feeling also on the lens that it was photographed with.
Yeah, it just adds so much. It adds that, like I think a lot of when I look at a lot of pieces, from other artists and things, I think one thing that I think a lot of what the difference between a good piece of art and a great piece of art, I think, is the storytelling. And I think that piece has like a lot of storytelling to it. You know, it looks like you're looking out of a porthole of a ship, and there's this bottle floating by with a kind of a rural town, rural city, you know, farming community might even look like that. You know, it's just, and it's like, so what's the message in the bottle? You know, I think that's what's so cool about that piece.
Yeah.
So I think with the next one, what do we have? What else do we have next? So the next one is what we kind of got together to talk about, which is this piece called "Let's Leave." And I had seen this one in your portfolio, and I'd actually had not seen it yet. So just go take a look at this really quick. I'll share my screen. It's just a super cool piece.
Let's see.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this piece.
Yeah. I wanted to make something with bubbles. I always think that they are, I mean, quite fascinating with this kind of rainbow pattern and color, all the colors and stuff that you have inside them. And I thought that, I mean, they just when you blow a bubble, you don't know really where it would go, and it just disappears. It flies off, takes off, and then it just pops. And I thought somehow, to me, that felt like, I mean, what if we could travel in bubbles? What if we could just, and it will just take us anywhere we couldn't really control where to go. We would just be in the bubble and go away. Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it would just be interesting to try to do something on that topic, and like someone trying to leave the place and someone trying to go somewhere else.
It's such a detailed piece. I'm just sort of scanning through it and looking at it at 100% here, and it's so detailed. Like this little, like the little water splashes coming off of the side, the little bubbles dropping down, and I don't even know what you call it, the little thing that you blow the bubbles with.
I don't know. Bubble tool?
I don't know, but it's so detailed. I mean, it looks like...
I think most of the details, it's something that people won't see really, but it's really important to me to actually just spend a lot of work on the details, to actually be proud of seeing a big print of it and be sure that like it looks perfect.
And what's so cool is that you were like really nice enough to send me some like sort of behind the scenes pictures with this as well. And has anybody ever seen any of this stuff before? Any of these other images?
I think for this one, no, this hasn't been shown at all actually. I'm a little bit like I want to show people how I make my pictures, but not all of them. I want to leave a little bit of magic in there as well. I don't know, like it's not really magic, but you know, I would like to keep people wondering sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I decided that, I mean, when you asked me about this picture, I thought like, why not just show it to you, and that would be the first time I ever show this picture, how it's made, how it was made.
And so we've got this one right here is the sketch. Let's see, right here.
Right. That was a very basic sketch that I made for. I thought it would be like something that maybe one person helping the other person into a bubble, and maybe one person is already on its way. And I looked a lot at different bubbles on the web just to see what you could do with bubbles, and I found also this other picture with a guy inside a bubble from one of my favorite photographers as well. But I think that's a little bit different. So yeah, I didn't want to, you know.
Do you like to when you're planning out? You like to sketch things out, but do you also like to put like a mood board together as well?
Sometimes I do, and actually for this one, this sketch I made to show the models in the picture, just to explain a little bit to them how I imagine it to be put together. But usually the sketches are really basic, like more like the one above there, and there's like not really any mood boards. I just have like an idea in my mind, and that's what I'm trying to capture.
So we've got this next picture here, which is sort of like is this the raw unretouched photo, or
this is the raw, unretouched picture of this image. And I already thought that I would have this kind of the bubble tool, but in a bigger scale. But so I thought that it would be good to make something that would look a little bit similar to that, so I would know where to place it in perspective and everything.
Yeah. What
So
is this, like
and
a
it's also
fishnet?
easier for her to hold something, that has a weight instead of just faking it and try to just hold something. So I think it's always good to try to capture as much as possible, and it also gives a better like feeling of how it would actually be to do this.
Was that like a swimming pool net or something like that that she's
It was
holding?
like it was a thing that I just built out of like I found this pipe and I found like a ring and it's just put together very roughly with some tape and stuff and yeah, I think something like that could have worked as well, but I think this was a little bit bigger.
I get so jealous of people that have the ability to make props. You know,
It's always very simple to me, but
yeah,
I think
living
it
in
could be built of basically anything. I think.
I always feel like that living in New York that I just have no capability to create, to get a pipe and some, you
Yeah,
know,
I know.
and something. I don't even know, I don't even have a place to assemble something like that. So it's just, I always get so jealous of other photographers who can do things like this. Let's see. So this next picture here is, oh, let's find it. Is we've got this. So this was just the sky, I guess, right? So you had just this was the sky that you would kind of.
Yes. I actually always replace the skies in all of my photos, like no matter what. Even if I use the same sky, I try to separate it and then put it on a different layer just to be able to balance the whole light in the picture a bit better.
Yeah, I feel like
So
skies are so easy to replace, and you're not
yeah,
likely to go out and shoot one day and have an amazing, perfect sky, and so it's like you can always supplement, augment your skies, and I think people don't do that enough.
yeah, I always try to shoot skies, and when I need a sky, I always feel like I don't have enough. It's yeah, as soon as I see a clear horizon, a quite clean horizon, I just try to shoot skies. It's always good, and they always look different. So I think that's very good.
And then the next we've got just a few more, just sort of, we've got like a cool bubble shot here.
Yeah, that's actually my dad helping me out making some bubbles. So I found this recipe online how to make soap bubbles like that would be a little bit stronger, and so something I don't remember what I put in there, but it was some kind of chemical that I put in there to make it a little bit stronger that it wouldn't pop as fast. So otherwise, it's just soap and water.
When you were shooting these, let's see, maybe it, I don't know. When you were shooting, oh, so it does. I actually do have some. I actually do have some data here on that. So you were shooting this as a ISO 400 at f/6.8 at a 800th of a second. So
Yeah, yeah, something like that. I don't even remember, but yeah, I didn't want to have any movement in the bubbles, and I was shooting in natural light because I didn't want like this kind of artificial light of it. I just wanted to capture the reflection of the surrounding there. So
yeah, it's cool, and you can actually see the clouds and everything reflecting
yeah,
back. And when you did that cause you any troubles when you were combining everything in Photoshop, having the um, this because wasn't the same location, right?
it was not the same location, but it was mostly to get the sky and a little bit of the light of it. So it was a little bit trickier than I thought. But I shot a lot of bubbles. I had like 200 shots of bubbles or something. And they all looked a little bit different. I mean, here you don't see the reflection as much as in this one. So
Yeah.
I just picked the ones that I thought would work out the best, and yeah, I went for those.
And so they weren't the same location, but was it like the same time of day when you were
It
shooting?
was the same time of day, yeah, and it was a quite open location. You saw a house in the reflection before, but it was like that was basically it around there. So it was like against a dark wall, so it would be easy to separate it, to just cut it out in Photoshop and put it, I think, on just blending mode screen or something. I thought would work out, but then the background needs to be darker.
Hmm.
So that's how I thought I would do it, and yeah, it was basically just shooting a lot of bubbles and picking the ones that I liked the most.
And then we've got these were just those were the bubble cans that you
Yeah,
back here. And
as you can see in the original picture as well, I placed like a big thing there as well, so I would know so where the grass would be covering it. So I mean, the lower part of it was actually there, and then I just
Right
extended the
here.
top of it.
So you'd put this little thing
Put
right
that
here.
there because you have the grass in front of it, and I thought that it would be a little bit tricky to actually cut it out and put it there. So it would just be faster to actually put something there that I could photograph.
Yeah, it always helps to have like a little reference like that, even if you
Yeah.
know what you're. And that's, I guess, where the plan comes in, where you go back to the sketch and you look to see, that there will be a canister right here, and
Mhm.
so you actually kind of have a better idea when you do that.
Yeah, yeah, it really helps.
And then I guess the final behind the scenes picture too was the little bubble
Yeah,
thingamajig.
I took some photos of this one as well. Yeah, which is this kind of what we now I don't know what we call it, but bubble tool thing. And I photographed it from some different angles, and then I just placed it on top of the picture, and just to see which one would fit the perspective the best.
And you changed the color of it as well.
Yeah, somehow it was a little bit too neonish, so I thought it would be just a little bit more like gray bluish would fit it better somehow.
It looks amazing. I mean, I'm looking at this, at this view. I mean, this doesn't look like a composite. It looks like she has a gigantic bubble thingy, and this looks real to me. So
Yeah.
very, very, very well done. Let's see. And now we've got, which is really cool too, is now we've kind of seen like the assets that you used to create it.
Mhm.
You were willing to open this up in Photoshop and show everybody, what it all looks like. So that's awesome.
Yes, I thought that I could show you a little bit like how it actually was made, and I haven't actually opened this since I worked on it. So let's see how it actually. I just opened it now, and you see it now here.
Let's see. Yes.
Great. So this is what the final one looked like. So let's see if I can just change I usually have two screens, so I have the layer panel on a different screen, but here's the layer panel now in the same screen. So it looks pretty good here, I guess, with the folders and everything. But if we open this up, you can see all the layers that I used to create this, and it's quite a lot of layers, I guess.
I'm on my. I've got my laptop disconnected from my second screen, so I'm like I'm looking at this on such a small screen and I can't read anything. I'm so sad.
All right. Okay.
So I'm like, if people see me zooming like in the corner of the screen, they see me like looking at. Yeah. So I guess shoot, I wish I could see. Can I zoom in on here anymore? Can I look at this little screen? What can I do? Make this bigger.
I don't know. Can you double click on it or somehow get into it? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I guess you can go ahead and just kind of show us from. I can tell you've got all the layers disabled right now, except for what looks like the original sky.
Just the sky. So I mean, what I would show you now would be just how it's built up in a layer way. I mean, like what's in the far back, and then how it was built up. But it's not always the way it works when I build it up. I mean, sometimes I usually would start to put it together quite roughly and just put the people where I thought the people would be, and then put the sky and the horizon and everything quite roughly, and then I would take it from there. But I think it's more logical to just show you from the back how it was created or how I together.
So it looks like you've got the original clouds, and then you kind of enhanced.
I did use the original clouds in the end, yeah. And so this is what I started out with. I lighten the sky a bit. Actually what's below the horizon you don't really have to care about. This is just for the sky. So I increased the contrast a little bit, made it a little bit more bluish.
You use a lot of curves, it looks like.
I do, yeah. And then I put the people in there, and it looked something like this. So it actually looked like this, and I cut out the people, so it would look like this. And for a long time, I wasn't really sure about the background. I was using this background that I already had here, quite flat, big field, but somehow it felt a little bit boring, or like, I mean, where are they going on a flat field? I mean, there's like not really anywhere you can go.
Yeah.
So I found this background that I shot from a mountain not so far from where I grew up. Actually, it's like just a 300-meter high mountain, so it's not really maybe even a mountain, but you have a really nice view from there. It was really super clear, fine day. So I took some pictures from up there, and that worked out perfectly as a background.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it actually, if you, it makes such a difference that background versus the original. It adds so much more depth, I think, to the scene.
It does, yeah. I was really like, sometimes when you put something in there, you just see like, yeah, that's it. Now I got it. And sometimes you can't really put your finger on it. Why doesn't it really work out? And I always keep my, as many layers as I can as smart objects, and actually as smart objects that I, not only as a smart object, but an object that I can enter in Camera Raw and change it if I want.
Yeah, I
Because
love that
that's
feature.
also something that, if you need to change the exposure up and down, you need to change the color a little bit to make it all match up a bit better. Then it's always good to keep it as a raw file, a raw layer, so you can actually go back and change the exposure, change the settings without actually affecting the content of like not actually making the pixels worse somehow.
Yeah, I love that feature. My biggest complaint about it is the fact that when you open it up in Camera Raw and you're in a composite situation like this, that
Yeah,
you can't that you can't make the adjustments and then see what it looks like on the canvas.
true. That
So
would be very helpful, actually. Yeah, that you could have the camera raw settings in a different window somehow. Would be
like if you could just move it over and then that way you adjust your exposure adjustments just a little bit and then you'd be able to see exactly what it looks like with the rest of the canvas. So anyway, so Adobe, if you're listening, guys, that would be awesome.
yeah, that
Um,
would be great. Yeah, so let's continue. What do we got? I'm still on the foreground layer or the layer with the girls. So it was like it looked a little bit not it was not blending together perfectly. So I had to make it darker. I had to make it a little bit more matching the two different scenes, the background and the foreground.
so are you using curves to kind of dodge and burn a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, what I use the most is basically hue and saturation to saturate to desaturate, and then I use curves for color adjustment. I'm using the different color channel. Not for this one, but this is what I would use quite a lot actually to adjust the color. Usually I can see like if it needs a tiny bit more blue, then I just go into the blue channel and I just increase the blue a little bit. So, those are the adjustment layers I use all the time. I don't really use that many other ones.
Yeah, I think it's funny, like with all the capabilities of Photoshop, and when you talk to artists, so that like the majority of things that they use the most are masks and layer adjustment layers.
Yeah, it's really so much like that for me as well. I don't really use that many fancy functions in Photoshop. It's just basically stacking layers on top of each other and using the layer masks and the adjustment layers to make it all blend together.
Yeah.
Then I had the bubble container on the left, some lighting on it. I filled it up with a little bit of bubbles, a little bit of surface. I don't know how much you can see here. I put a ring in there. I actually, because the ring would be too small for the thing she's holding, the shaft, so I thought that it would just be easier to cut it out, to separate it and put the ring in there separately. So it was orange like this, and I just took the color down a bit, made it darker, more contrasty.
Yeah, it looks so cool, and it blends with the scene so much better. I think with that, it kind of connects the sky,
Yeah,
sky to the grass.
I was trying out some different colors, but somehow this felt like most. I don't know. It felt best somehow.
Hmm.
Um, and let's see what's next. Okay, I photographed some foam because I thought that it would be the transition between the bubble and the thing would be too clean otherwise. And here you can start to see the bubble coming. So it's actually not just one layer of bubble, so it's like several layers of bubble, looks like.
Wow.
So there's different reflections that I photographed, and let's see.
When you do this, when you do work like this, and what do you think takes the longest? Do you think the photography part takes the longest, or do you think the Photoshop part takes the
I
longest?
think it, like, if you do a good job when you photograph the stuff, it saves a lot of time in the rest. I mean, in the post production.
Yeah.
It's always like that. Every time I do something, it's like, oh, I should have done it this way, or I should have shot it without someone in there, so I would just have a clean background, or I would have something like this. So I learn something every time. I mean, it's not really a big deal, but it would save me a little bit of time. So every time I work on a new picture, I learn something.
Mm-hmm.
I put some bubbles in there, and actually in the original version, I actually had some more bubbles. So I had like a bag floating around. I had actually another person.
I love
But the
that.
thing is that to me this was too it was too much somehow.
Yeah.
And I just liked it like this, and you don't really know what would happen. Will it actually work, or you don't really know. So to me that was more the way I wanted to do it.
It seems like one of those.
Something I'm struggling with for a long time. Should I have people in the bubbles or no people in the bubbles?
It's like sometimes it's one of those things where like you have an idea and you go with it, and then you sit on it for like a couple days and you think about it. And
Yeah. And it's really like that. So I was also like very concerned about like, where should I place the bubble? Should it be here? Should it be here? Should it be here? Or should it be here?
yeah.
That was also like something that I was, yeah. So, but somehow
I think you placed it in a great spot because I think it fills that. It adds a little bit of interest to that that right third of the screen.
exactly. I wanted it to be quite balanced, and I don't like following the rule of thirds too much. And like, I mean, of course it's good for composing, but like sometimes it's just good to follow your feeling and just see how it goes. And usually it would follow some kind of composition rule anyway, I think, because that's how it feels right, I think. So that's a lot of times like that. And it was actually, the sun was coming out on the girls from the right, so I wanted to enhance that a little bit in the bubble as well. So I put a little bit of light in there as well on top of the bubble.
Is it just you just tap it with the brush? Is that what that was? Or
It was actually, I would think that this is actually. Oh yeah, let's see. Let's have a closer look at this one. So what this is actually flares that are photographed. I have actually, just like I have a folder full of skies, I have a folder full of different flares. I've been photographing lights, and I've been photographing my studio lights and all kinds of stuff against black. So I would have like a whole bunch of different flares as well.
yeah, I think like good flares are so hard to find, and I've never seen a generator that works as
A
good.
little bit fake, and it's such an easy thing to just capture. So I think that's one of those things that everyone can do.
Yeah.
And when you just put it on screen, it really looks great, I think. And you can make it smaller, you can turn it and place it anywhere you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks awesome. They add so much to it. I think they kind of, lens flares kind of get have gotten a bad rap over the years, and
Yeah.
but it just depends on how you it depends on how you use them, really.
It does, yeah. And yeah, in the end, it looked a little bit flat, I guess. So I mean, like I always do, I put a little bit of my final adjustments to it. Sometimes I put a little bit of vignetting. I mean, that's somehow maybe not. That's something most photographers try to get rid of, but just sometimes it works really well to put more focus on what's happening in the middle of the picture, or like what you want to put the focus on. I have a black and white layer set on soft light that would on 25%, just to increase the contrast a little bit. A curve layer that would also increase the contrast slightly. another black and white layer because somehow it was just too colorful to me. So I wanted to remove the color. I just wanted it to be a little bit more focused on the girl in the red dress and the rest to be a little bit more exaggerated. So as you can see in the mask here, I was actually not affecting the girl and yeah, the skin tones and the girls. I wanted to keep them like they were.
So right now, this is basically at this point in the illustration that you have pretty much finished the compositing, but this is your
some final adjustments, and I try to not apply this too early. I try to do it in the end because somehow, otherwise, I need to. I don't know. It's just something I want to do as a final touch. And what else? I put a little bit of color balance. I mean, just made it slightly more yellow, warmish in the highlights and slightly more bluish in the shadows. Somehow that works out really well. Gradient map with a little bit of like green yellow light. Somehow I don't know. To me that gave it a little bit more like magic touch. Darken the sky slightly. Make it slightly warmer in the middle.
Do you use gradient map a lot?
Not really. Just like this, once in a while, I can use it as, I mean, just to give it a touch of something. I mean, for example, if you would like it to have like a sunset feeling, something that's pretty good then is to use the gradient map, put it on this one, which looks amazingly horrible right now. But then if you just put it on soft light and take it down a little bit, you can get this kind of
looks so cool
sunset-ish light somehow, this warm light. So sometimes it could be good too, but I always use it on really like low, just like 10% or something, just as a final effect. And then just like a layer with some noise on top of it, just to make it give it a little bit of, I mean, not to look too perfect. A little bit of grain. So without the final adjustments, it looks like this, quite flat, a little bit boring, I think, to me.
Yeah.
And the final adjustments like this.
Yeah, it looks so much more dramatic.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like it actually can set the mood pretty much somehow. But it's basically most of the time what I do with the final adjustments is like increase the contrast slightly and just take down the colors a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it looks amazing that way, and I mean thank you so much for like going through all this and showing everybody, you know, a bit about how you put these composites together.
Yeah, no worries. Happy to show it. I hope someone gets to sees it also.
So cool. Well, I think that's pretty much. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about today? One thing I wanted to ask you is, like when you're shooting, what kind of gear are you using?
So what I'm using most of the time is I'm shooting with before I was shooting with a Canon 5D Mark II, but for the past year I've been shooting with a Hasselblad H5D 40 megapixel camera, and it's a medium format camera. It's quite a lot more expensive, but to me it actually is somehow a big difference. I don't know, like it's something with the files. I just get more color and more information in the raw files. And the resolution is slightly higher, which is nice as well. But I think to me the biggest difference is somehow like the way it captures the colors. I don't know, I haven't been shooting with a D800, which is supposed to be a really good camera as well, but I'm very happy with this camera.
Yeah. And does what is it you say? It's 50 megapixel?
It's 40 megapixels actually. So it's like 7,304 pixels wide and something 5,000 high.
And are you what kind of computer are you using?
I'm using a MacBook Pro Retina MacBook for shooting on location, and then for putting the pictures together, I use a home-built PC that I put together myself.
Oh.
2 ISO screens, color edge screens, and for light, I have some Electron flashes and some just like small Canon flashes. But most of the time, I try to use natural light as much as I can. But
Now,
I
in
didn't
that
use Flash.
in the piece that we just looked at, you mostly used natural light, right? You
It was
didn't.
actually natural light. I had some flash, small flash with me, but actually the sun was going down. It was like the summertime, and it was just going through the clouds a little bit and gave them a touch of light from the side, and it was just perfect. So I didn't need to use any light.
Did you use any reflectors or anything like that?
Yeah, sometimes reflectors as well, but yeah, most of the time it's just natural. I mean, yeah, sometimes it could be good with a reflector too, but it depends a little bit on the subject. And I just want it to look like I want it to look very simple, and I don't want the kind of studio look that some people seem to
Yeah.
like. It's just I like the natural light and just make it look like it was a snapshot, even though it consists of just hundreds of layers.
Awesome, and thank you so much for sharing all that. I mean, I know it's like when um, for photographers to like go into the Photoshop file, it's quite an intimate intimate thing to do. So
Yeah, don't mind the way I name the layers and everything. I think it's like mixed Swedish, English, and stuff that I only understand myself. And
yeah, my layer. Listen, I preach that you should name your layers, but when I'm quickly throwing together, or not, maybe not even that quickly throwing together a piece, my layer naming structure could definitely use some
yeah, to me it's more like I'm using the folders or the grouping. That's like where I put the names, and then the layers within the group can just be called like layer 37 copy or something.
But so what are you working on? Anything else exciting that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm actually working on 4 new pictures at the moment. 2 weeks ago I was in Sweden and I shot a lot of new material, and I don't know if I have anything of that I can show you. I have some sketchbooks here, but it would be quite nice. I started working on 2 of those. It's starting to come together. Like this is this is the last piece I did. Like, I don't know if you remember this one. It was like a guy in between doors. So that's what the sketch looks like. And so the one I'm working on at the moment is basically a person is like out walking and the world is falling down behind the person.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I don't know. Like,
so like as he's walking.
This is a very, very simple sketch, but I want it to look like just it's all falling down, and hopefully that picture will be published within the next few weeks. Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, you hear me. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, what else? Yeah, I think you will see within the next few weeks what I'm.
Well, that's amazing. I'm always really excited when I'm on Facebook or Twitter or something and I see one of your new piece it comes up, and so it's always really exciting to see what you've come up with next.
It takes a lot of time, but my goal is to at least try to do 10 pictures a year. But yeah, sometimes it's hard because it usually takes several weeks to just put it together, and I mean it's not. It maybe takes like efficiently. It takes maybe 20 hours to put it together or something, 10 to 20 hours. But it has to take more time because I have to leave it for a while. I have to come back to it, and yeah.
Yeah. So you say almost maybe do like a new personal work like once a month maybe?
I try to do that, but like now it was a very busy year so far, and now I have a little bit more time, so I'm trying to do as much as possible.
Yeah, people always say that while it's nice to have the client work, that it's the personal work that gets you the clients. So
yeah. It's the same for me as well, and I think like a lot of photographers do personal work in the beginning and then they get too busy to do it. But to me, it's always been really important to still do the personal work because that's complete creative freedom and I can do just whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I completely agree, and I always say when I look through people's portfolios, it's always the personal work that pop out to me the most.
Yeah.
But anyways, well, I think we've taken enough of your time today, and I certainly appreciate you coming out and This is like actually the first interview I've done on the new site, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's
There
just
will be a lot more to come.
and I'm super excited about Next to the Text and featuring more of your work and talking to other artists like you as well. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
well, thanks everybody, and thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Erik, and hope to see everyone again soon.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.